Um, and really what it comes down to is it comes right back to the attack surface, but it's really being strict around, and being open and saying, do we really need this? So good aspect to it is, you talked about the attack surface getting into areas where now we have IoT and endpoints and more things that are interconnected with the cloud and more exposed. It's no longer just a network perimeter, especially in these smaller organizations. They have all these endpoints and all these different aspects, and having their environment be hardened, and then implementing network segmentation and breaking off those components. So like a good example, going back to the house analogy, if someone breaks into my house and I lock each individual door within my house, which is the equivalent of having segmentation, it actually, it kind of hardens the internal aspect once they actually break in. So the overall impact that exists is greatly reduced, and that's really the fundamentals around the attack surface management component. So if it, and I kind of, the advice I've given organizations is like, if it doesn't need to be in your environment, then don't have it be in your environment. So if you don't need organizations to access, to basically not have any kind of like URL filtering or having any kind of like blocked websites, like you shouldn't be able to go to whatever website that you want if you're working in a corporate environment on a corporate machine. And that's a very common mistake that organizations have. They don't have any policies around what people can access and can't access. And in some work environments, it's not appropriate and doesn't make sense from a security perspective to have access to social media, or being able to have users, typical regular users, have administrative access so they can download whatever programs that they want. And I can think of over 100 examples where that was commonplace, and organizations have come to me and asked me, is it a best practice to not have the end user have access to administrative rights? And it's like, well, yeah, absolutely, and that's an easy fix. It doesn't cost anything to do that. It's not a bona fide business need to have them have it, and it greatly reduces your security risk. And once you start adding in things like multi-factor authentication, stricter password rules, and then password resets, having the segmentation aspect where you're locking each individual door, and then basically constantly checking and going in and doing these monitoring aspects, and having these different exercises with red teams, and having more of the in-depth on specific use cases. So like this month, we're going to go in and just validate that we can respond to a phishing attack or a ransomware attack, or someone taking advantage of a vulnerability in our server architecture. And then and there's a lot of open source software out there too. There's pros and cons to that. But there are a lot of tools out there, and a lot of organizations are actually moving towards a product-led growth type approach, where they actually have a freemium level version of their product. So those are definitely things that they should absolutely take advantage of, where there's tons of tools out there that they can get exposure to and get access to, that they can have exposure to, especially if they're tight on budgets. The other thing too is to prioritize consolidated solutions. So with the advent of endpoint protection platforms and extended detection and response, or XDR, and a lot of the MDR, managed detection response, and managed services out there, I would certainly prioritize kind of an all-in-one type approach, where you can get, it's not necessarily the best of breed in all the different categories, but you can identify certain areas that are the most important to you, and being able to implement that, and kind of you get the